Hello, everybody. This is Jimmy. You're reading with Jimmy, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Chapter 9, The Mock Turtle Story. We left off on the last couple of pages with Alice and the Duchess meeting the Queen, and then the Queen asking if Alice ever saw a mock turtle yet. And the Queen was really executing everybody around her. There were only Alice and the King, and the Queen left because everybody else was under sentence of execution. And the king pardons everybody as they leave because the queen says, we're going to go meet the mock turtle and hear his history. Come, and Alice says, and so the king pardons everyone, and we start page 100 and 101, and Alice says, with Alice saying to herself, well, that's a good thing, the pardon. That's the pronoun there. Let me mark that one down. That's a good thing. What's that? The fact that the king pardoned everybody. Because Alice was quite unhappy at the number of executions that the queen ordered. And they soon came, as they were going now to see the mock turtle, and I don't know what a mock turtle is yet, but very soon they come upon a griffin lying fast asleep in the sun. So the griffin is sleeping. And then there's these parentheses again, right? Parentheses. If you don't know what a griffin is, look at the picture. Remember the picture. You've been seeing pictures in this edition, and there are pictures. We're going to talk about the guy who drew the pictures. But a griffin, if we didn't have pictures, is a mythical creature, look up here, with the head and wings of an eagle and the body of a lion. Now, I don't know about you, but that picture doesn't necessarily, it kind of looks like what we're talking about, but you need the words to understand the picture. You've heard the saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? Well, 1,000 words are worth a picture. Don't forget what I told you in the last analysis about the guy who says, why use 10 words when 100 will do? If you just looked at the picture, you would really not be able to know what you're looking at per se, right? In actuality, you got a long tail here. A griffin is a mythical creature with the head and wings of an eagle and the body of a lion, depicted with pointed ears, with the eagle's legs taking the place of the forelegs. I think you could see the forelegs here and the pointed ears here. Eagles, I don't recall an eagle having pointed ears. But in any case, this is a mythical creature, mythology. You can look up where he comes from if you'd like to. But in any case, the narrator tells us, if you don't know what it is, look at the picture, but I encourage you to look it up and do some back thing. Anyway, they come upon this griffin sleeping in the sun. And that's a new character, the griffin, right? New character. Let me write that down. New character. Okay. Up, lazy thing, said the queen, and take this young lady to see the mock turtle and to hear his history. I must go back to see after the executions I've ordered. And she walked off, leaving Alice alone with the griffin. Now, this is a pretty intimidating creature, right? I mean, head eagle, lion, pointed ears, claw. Wow. So she leaves Alice alone with the griffin, and Alice didn't quite like the look of the creature, you'd think. But on the whole, Alice thought it would be quite as safe to stay with it as to go after the savage queen. So she waited. That savage word has been used throughout Alice's Adventures in Wonderland to really mean mean. Savage is mean. She uses it on the Duchess is mean to the baby pig. The queen is certainly a savage. She's beheading everybody. But this griffin is sleeping, and she thought, well, it's probably as safe here as it is to go with the queen who's, just beheading everybody. In any case, the griffin sits up and rubs his eyes. I want you to think about that. He rubs his eyes. Did you ever watch a bird of prey rub himself or clean himself or rub his eyes with those claws. There's something about rubbing your eyes with claws. Anyway, then it watched the queen till she was out of sight, and then it chuckled. The griffin chuckled. The griffin laughed. "What fun," said the griffin, half to itself and half to Alice. "What fun?" "What is the fun?" said Alice, who's very confused. "Why, she," said the griffin. "It's all her fancy, that. They never executes nobody, you know. Come on." Think about the language that the griffin is using. "Why, she. It's all her fancy." We're going to talk about this word in a moment. "It's all her fancy, that." What's that? "They never executes nobody, you know. Come on." They never executes nobody. Is that proper English? In any case, come on. Everybody says, "Come on here," thought Alice. She's not saying it to the griffin as she went slowly after it. "I never was so ordered about before in all my life. Never. Come on." By the way, come on is only used 8 times in this entire story with all these words. We talked about the amount of words used in the story. Come on is only as an order is used 8 times. All right. They'd not gone far before they saw the Mock Turtle in the distance, sitting sad and lonely on a little ledge of a rock. And as they came nearer, Alice could hear him sighing as if his heart would break. She pitied him deeply. Have you ever felt pity for anyone? What does that mean, pity? You feel sorry for them. You can look it up. There's lots of definitions. But this mock turtle is sighing. What does that mean? Sometimes you hear a human being sighing. Sometimes an animal will sigh. But a human sigh? And she pities him. We're going to stop there. But before we go on with the sighing, we're going to look at fancy, because before I do that, let me do this. Fancy. What is fancy? Remember, the mock turtle is talking, right? And it's all in the queen's fancy. What's in the queen's fancy? She never executes anything. So what's fancy? It's an elaborate in structure and decoration. The furniture was very fancy. That's not what this means. That's not what this means when he says it's all her fancy. It's all her fancy. The archaic use is created from the imagination rather than from life. I used to take a seat and busy myself in sketching fancy vignettes. Okay? Maybe, I don't know. It's a feeling or desire. Do you fancy a drink? Like Wish. No, that's not it. So you keep going and you keep going. And finally, you're going to get to the definition. And I think what I have to do here is delete some of this stuff so you can see the rest of the definitions. It's the British regard for a horse in a likely winner. I fancy him to win the tournament. That's not it either. It's a feeling of liking or attraction, typically superficial. This does not mean that the law should change with every passing fancy. Desire, urge, maybe that's not it either. I don't know. Let's keep going. Look at all these words for fancy. Come now, it's her fancy. The faculty of imagination. My research assistant is prone to flights of fancy. There we go. Way on the bottom. Flights of fancy. It's all her fancy. It's all her imagination. It's all the queen's imagination. They never execute anybody. They never execute anybody, the mock turtle tells Alice. I want you to remember that. It's all in her head. It's all her imagination. It's all her fancy. That's the way they used to talk in those days, and that doesn't mean you can't talk like that nowadays. You saw all the explanations of fancy, right? That's a fancy dress. That doesn't mean it's an imaginative dress. Fancy, it's pretty and decorative. Lots of definitions, and they're very important in understanding the words, aren't they? So keep that in mind when you're thinking about this. Let me do this. Can I close this? I guess I can't close it. So let's just close it this way and look at these words again. It's all her fancy. Her fancy. It's an imagine. No one gets executed, and she's feeling tremendous pity, deep pity for the mock turtle who's sighing as if his heart would break. Did you ever have your heart broken? Has someone broken your heart? Did you sigh when you had your heart broken? Is the turtle crying? He's sighing. We don't know if he's crying yet, but he's sighing. This is Jimmy. You're reading with Jimmy. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Chapter 9, the Mock Turtle story, which we're about to hear in the next couple of pages. Thanks for listening. Jimmy at readingwithjimmy.com. Jimmy at readingwithjimmy.com. That's my email. Please send me an email. Send me your questions. Look forward to talking to you soon for the next couple of page analysis. Thanks.